Welcome to another invigorating episode of AP Computer Science. Make sure to have your writing implements ready. Strings are needed in many programming tasks. This lesson covers the specifications of the string class and how to solve string processing problems. Groups of characters in Java are not represented by primitive data types. Strings are objects of the, wait for it, string class. We've used string literals such as enter a value with system.out statements in earlier programs. Now we can begin to explore the string class and its capabilities. So far our experience with strings has been with string literals, consisting of any sequence of characters enclosed with double quotation marks. The characters that a string object contains can include escape sequences. This example contains a tab and a new line character. A second unique characteristic of the string class is that it supports the AND operator to concatenate two string expressions. For example, the AND operator can be used to combine a string expression with any other expression of primitive data. When this occurs, the primitive expression is converted to a string representation and concatenated with the string. Because strings are objects, you can create a string object using the keyword new in a string constructor method. Though they are not primitive types, strings are so important and frequently used that Java provides additional syntax for declaration. A string created in this shortcut way is called a string literal. String literal is the quote character's quote. Only strings have a shortcut like this. All other objects are constructed by using the new operator. Recall from a previous lesson that objects are constructed from instances of a particular class. The object is most often referenced using an identifier. The identifier is a variable that stores the reference of the object. This identifier is called an object reference. Now what we are working with is a simple class, so it's a good time to discuss object references. Whenever the new operator is used, a new object is created. At each time an object is created, there is a reference to where it is stored in the memory. The reference is used to find the object. It's possible to store a new object reference in a variable. For example, the variable stir is used to store a reference to the string first string. In the second part of the example, a reference to the string second string is stored in the variable stir. If another reference is saved in the variable, it replaces the previous reference. If a reference to an object is no longer being used, then there is no way to find it. It becomes garbage. This is a common situation when new objects are created and old ones are being unneeded during the execution of a program. While a program is running, a part of Java's system called the garbage collector reclaims each lost object in the memories available again. In the example, the string object first string becomes garbage. Multiple objects of the same class can be maintained by creating unique reference variables for each object. This program has two reference variables, stir and stir. It creates two objects and places each reference into one of the variables. Since each object has its own reference variable, no reference is lost, and no object becomes garbage until the program has finished running. In most programs, objects are created in string, depending on the data and what is being computed. A reference variable sometimes does, and sometimes does not, need to refer to an object. You may want to erase the reference inside a variable without creating a new reference. You do this by assigning null to the variable. The null means that there is no object whatsoever. A reference value is set to null when it's not referring to an object. Variables a and c are initialized to object references. Variable b is initialized to null. Note that variable c is initialized to a reference to the string object containing no characters. Therefore, println c executes, but has no characters to print. Having no characters is different than being from null. So now that we have our strings, we'll want to do something with them, from wanting to find out how long the string is, or where a certain char is. IntLength method returns the number of characters in the string object. The char@at method is a tool for extracting a character from within a string. The char@at parameter specifies the position of a desired character. Remember, all good coders start from 0. The int index of string_stir method will find the first occurrence of stir within this string and return the index of the first character. If stir does not occur in this string, the method returns -1. The int index of method is identical in function and output to the index of function, except it's looking for a single character. We can also reformat the string. To_lowercase returns a string with the same characters as the string object, with all characters converted to lowercase. To_uppercase returns a string with the same characters as the string object, but with all characters converted to uppercase. Trim returns a string with the same characters as the string object, but with the leading and trailing white space removed. Substring int begin index returns the substring of the string object starting from begin index through the end of the string object. Substring int begin index and int end index returns the substring of the string object starting from begin index through, but not including, the position end index of the string object. That is, a new string contains characters numbered begin index to end index -1 in the original string. Immutability of strings keeps you from willy-nilly changing strings. Notice the above example method of to_lowercase. This method returns a new string, which is the lowercase version of the object that invoked the method. The object greeting did not change. To change the value of greeting, you need to assign the return value of the method to the object greeting. We can also compare strings. The equals method evaluates contents of two string objects to determine if they are equivalent. The method returns true if the objects have identical contents. The equals ignored case method is very similar to the equals method. As its name implies, it ignores case when determining if two strings are equal. This method is very useful when users type responses to prompts in your program. The ignores case method will allow you to enter data without regard to capitalization. The compare_to method compares the calling string object and the string argument to see which comes first in lexicographical ordering. Lexicographical ordering is the same as alphabetical ordering when both strings are using all uppercase or all lowercase. If the calling string is first lexicographically, it returns a negative value. If the two strings are equal, it returns 0. If the argument string comes first lexicographically, it returns a positive number. It is natural to think of a char as a string of a length of 1. Unfortunately, in Java, the char and the string types are incompatible, since the string is an object and the char is a primitive type. This means you cannot use a string in place of a char, or use a char in place of the string. Extracting a char from within a string can be accomplished using the char@at method as previously described. Conversion from char to string can be accomplished by using the concatenation operator described previously. Concatenating a char with an empty string results in a string that consists of that char. The Java notation for an empty string is usually 2 double quotation marks. For example, to convert my char to string, it is added 2 double quotation marks. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to output objects using the simple line system.out_print object name? Thanks to the toString method, you have the ability to do this. You can create a toString method in any of your classes in the format of public string toString. Within the toString method, you can format your class variables into one string object and return the string. Then, when Java encounters your object in the string format, it will call the toString method. You gotta be careful when using this, because you're fixing the format of the output. Oftentimes, you will still want to format your output depending on the specific problem you're solving, but the toString method provides a simple and quick way to look at the state of your objects. There are also many times when the toString method will be very useful. Consider a student class that contains member variables of the first name, middle name, last name, and list the classes being taken, the student's address, and the phone number, etc. You can easily make a toString method that would simply output the student's first name, middle initial, and last name for a quick reference. Every time you design a class, you should stop and think about whether or not your class would benefit having a toString method and how you should format this string. The scanner class has two methods for reading textual input from the keyboard. The next method returns a reference to the string object that has from 0 to many characters typed by the user at the keyboard. The string will end whenever it reaches whitespace. Whitespace is defined as blank space, tabs, or new line characters in the input stream. In inputting from the keyboard, Next stops adding text from the string object when the first whitespace is encountered from the input stream. A nextLine method returns a reference to the string object it contains from 0 to many characters entered by the user. With nextLine, the string object may contain blank spaces, white tabs, but will end when it reaches a new line character. Therefore, nextLine will read the whole lines of input rather than only one word at a time. Formatting strings is done with the same style as using printf method. Now that you know more about strings, you should be able to recognize that you are really manipulating string literals when you use the printf formatting rules. If you want to alter how a string object is stored without actually printing it to the string, you simply use the formatter object. Also, don't forget to import the formatter class. Now go code like the wind.